Hello, I'm your host, the Unlucky Moviegoer, and our story today is about demons, forbidden love, and well, we'll leave it at that so you can enjoy the mystery for yourself. A monk, Fa Hai, and his pupil, Nang Ren, walk into a giant door and are suddenly traveling through a blizzard. Nang Ren says he's cold. Fa Hai says he's already lost a mental battle against her. This her Fa Hai was speaking of suddenly appears. Turns out it's an ice harpy. Nang Ren rushes in and immediately gets frozen solid. The harpy wonders why Fa Hai is not entranced by her charms, and he replies she should be reflecting on her sins instead of worrying about him. They talk a little more smack, then a battle commences. Seems the ice harpy is pretty powerful, but Fa Hai has got some moves of his own. He defeats and captures the ice harpy, freeing his pupil. Fa Hai tells Nang Ren to store the trapped harpy in the temple, and they go back into their teleporting door. Nang Ren arrives at the temple, and creatures seem to be trying to escape a dimensional-looking prison. As the creatures are trapped, the people talks his smack. He tells them all to meditate on their sins and traps the harpy in the dimensional prison. We cut to a mountain. Women with snake bodies, Xing Xing and Susu, are floating around and giggling. They seem to be quite friendly towards each other as they frolic in the grass. They're admiring their view when they spot travelers climbing a mountain to pick some herbs. One traveler, Xu Xian, eats some herbs. Xing Xing comments that they'll strip the whole mountain and that she'll give him a scare. Susu tries to stop her, but she takes off. The climbers are climbing when Xing Xing scares Xu Xian off the mountain. She's laughing and admiring her work when Susu jumps in to save Xu Xian. She kisses him, seemingly to give him oxygen. He wakes up. She smiles. He passes out. She leaves. Xu Xian then wakes up to this man trying to resuscitate him. He wonders where the girl went. His friends think he was hallucinating. Xing Xing wonders why Susu saved him and gave his vitals a boost. Susu seems to be sprung. Xing Xing calls her out and says she's into him. Fa Hai and Nang Ren are walking along a path when they spot a girl who seems to have been bitten by something. Nang Ren comments it's the day of the Lantern Festival, so Fa Hai says they must hurry before more people die. Fa Hai and Nang Ren ask a ferryman for passage along the river. This ferryman is none other than Xu Xian, the mountain climbing herb guy who almost drowned from earlier. He comments that he's not a ferryman, but tells them to hop in because he loves helping others. Nang Ren asks Xu Xian about his goals. He says he wants to be a doctor. Nang Ren says his goal is to be the head monk of their temple. We cut to Susu, who's still thinking about her kiss with Xu Xian. The forest animals ask her what she's thinking about. She says she wants to go to the human world. Xing Xing comments it's just to see Xu Xian. Susu claims she just wants one more look at him. Xing Xing tells her to chill. The forest animals claim her vital essence is in him since they kissed, and they're part of each other now. Susu takes Xing Xing and leaves for the human world. They arrive in the human world during the Lantern Festival. Susu tells Xing Xing to find the man she kissed so she can play a joke on him. It seems our monk friends are at the festival as well, searching for demons with their handy demon sensor. Xing Xing runs into Nang Ren. His demon sensor points in her direction, but he pays it no mind, telling her to be careful as there are demons around. She asks politely what he would do if he found a demon. He tells her not to speak so loudly as the demon is sure in their vicinity. He starts telling on himself and mentioning his and his master's plans about exorcising demons. She asks why they're exorcising demons in the first place. He says because demons hurt people. She asks, what about demons that don't hurt people? He says he doesn't know. They talk some more, and he says he'd love to have a friend like her. She puts her arm around him and tells him her name is Xing Xing. Nang Ren then does exactly what I would do. He cowers away, prays for a second, and introduces himself in semi-beta fashion. Xing Xing smiles and says she has to go. She then leaves. Xing Xing finds Xu Xian and tells him to come with her to see her sister. He comments she must have the wrong man, then starts to leave. She jumps in the water and pushes his boat into a bridge. Susu is at said bridge, looking off, very aloof-like. He looks at her for a second, then leaves to get his boat. She then breaks the bridge and he falls into her. Susu grabs onto him. Xu Xian comments that what they're doing is not proper and tries to run away. She continues with her advances. He tells her he's not interested, but she pays him no mind. He says he's too busy for romance and starts running off. She wonders why he doesn't like her, and he says there's someone else in his heart. He also comments that he's poor and she wouldn't want him anyway. She asks who this woman is, and he describes a woman that saved him from drowning, but he doesn't remember how she looked. She throws him in a lake and kisses him. He immediately recognizes her. Xing Xing finds Neng Ren and they talk again. She tells him to give up on his demon hunt. He says he's sworn to his master and cannot. Xing Xing, looking very annoyed, says since he's so persistent, she'll help him out. She immediately identifies women paddling a boat as bat demons, with the bigger demon inside who she claims aren't very powerful. Neng Ren springs into action, to Xing Xing's dismay, but she soon shrugs it off and leaves. Neng Ren begins to battle the bat demons. He uses the power of music to disorient and slice them in half. A larger bat demon pulls him into the boat and bites his neck. He rings his bell and his master Fa Hai jumps into action. Fa Hai battles the bat demon. The battle is relocated to a volcano where Fa Hai gets the better of the demon. He then poses. Fa Hai and Neng Ren return to the temple, but it seems Neng Ren has been poisoned. Cut to Xu Xian washing his clothes when Susu drops in on him. They embrace each other and she says she wants to be with him forever. He says he wants to meet her parents so they can get married. She smiles. Cut back to the temple where some kids wake up Neng Ren, who's looking slightly different. He screams. The kids snitch on Neng Ren, claiming he ran away. Xing Xing is doing some redecorating when she sees Neng Ren trying to hang himself. She helps him along. JK, she was just pranking him. Almost gotcha. Neng Ren starts to sulk. Xing Xing tells him to chill. It's all good, cause she's a demon too. He freaks out a bit, but eventually comes around. She starts giving him some demon training. She then asks if he has feelings for her. Dang, these sisters move quick. She asks if he'd like to bite her neck. He gets tempted, and she shoves some chicken in his mouth. She then offers him some water, but turns out it's blood. He immediately begins to pray as he's committed sins. She tells him it's too late, and he must embrace being a demon now. Xu Xian and Susu walk into a giant house, which she claims is her family house. Xu Xian looks onto her family, who seem pretty ordinary. Xing Xing tells Susu to hurry as the animals can't take human form for long. Xu Xian gets introduced to the fam and some shenanigans ensue. The rabbit tells Xu Xian to hurry up and propose. He then basically starts going on about how broke he is, but mentions he'll pay Susu with love. The animals say that's cool and tell him to hurry home. Susu says she wants to hear him out. Xu Xian begins to say heartfelt words to Susu as the animals revert back to their true forms. Xing Xing knocks him out once he finishes. Just then, Fa Hai and his goons appear outside the mansion. A mouse comes in warning everyone inside about the impending danger. Xing Xing says to run while she distracts him. A battle ensues. Xing Xing and Fa Hai engage each other with flashy magic attacks. Neng Ren watches on while she's getting bodied. He jumps in the way just before she gets owned. Fa Hai diverts his attack and Neng Ren pleads with him to let her go. Fa Hai begs Neng Ren to come back with him. Neng Ren says he can't go back, bids Fa Hai farewell, and flies off. Xing Xing wakes up. Neng Ren says he'll always protect her, and they fly off. Xu Xian wakes up confused as well. Susu says they're married now. Xu Xian mentions again that he's broke, and she says she doesn't care as long as they're together. The couple take a naked nap. Fa Hai travels down a river and sees the town looking rather down bad. Xu Xian is seen trying to heal the people. Fa Hai explains that they have been poisoned by a demon and there's no use. Xu Xian is at home trying to make a cure. Susu puts some of her life essence in the medicine, and it looks like it's taking a toll on her. Fa Hai is investigating and finds the demons responsible for the town's curse. The monks chase down the demons. Fa Hai tells them to repent for their deeds. The demons tell them they'd rather box. The demons and the monks do battle. The demons cast an attack with their female hormones. Fa Hai prays his sexual desires away and rejects their advances. He scoops up the demons. Susu is packing up the medicine and almost passes out. The mouse says she's a clown and has to chill with all that giving away her life essence stuff. Fa Hai is traveling back through the town that was cursed, which now looks like it's thriving. Xu Xian is passing out his medicine and the townspeople praise him. Fa Hai sees the demon life essence in the medicine. He asks who helped Xu Xian make said medicine, and he says his wife did. Fa Hai gives him a dagger and says it's to protect himself. Susu travels down a river and Fahai watches her. He confronts her. They box. Susu is giving him a run for his money, but Fahai eventually traps her. He says she is kind to make the medicine and tells her it costs her centuries of her life. He also tells her that she is unknowingly absorbing Xu Xian's life essence. She says they're in love. He says he understands, but he asks will he love her if he finds out she's a snake demon, and if she loves him so much, she should let him go. He bounces, but before he goes, Fahai tells her if he sees her one more time in the human world, it's on sight. Xu Xian and Susu are eating while he remarks on the wondrous day he had. She drinks some of the wine and starts to feel sick. She asks what kind of wine it is. He says it's wine they make from a flower that is also used to ward off snake poison. She runs into the other room and locks it. She begins transforming into a snake. She's about to jump out the window, but it seems Fahai and his goons are here, and he's closed off her exit. She asks Xu Xian to repeat his vows to her, as things are looking rather dire. He does. She cries. Fahai jumps through the roof and says he warned her. She gets upset and they begin to throw down. Xu Xian comes in and freaks out. Xu Xian stabs her with a knife. She begins to cry. Then she leaves. Fahai says not to chase her, as she'll never be able to take human form again. Xu Xian asks Fahai if the snake ate his wife. Fahai says, that was your wife.
Damn!
Xu Xian freaks out. Xing Xing holds a dying Susu. Susu says she has no regrets because she experienced true love. Xu Xian asks the mouse how he can save Susu. The mouse says a spirit herb that only grows in Fahai's temple will help. Xu Xian begins to climb Fahai's temple like a whole Assassin's Creed character. Xu Xian tries to take the root, but it splits apart, calling him a thief, and begins to attack him. He sets the herb and himself on fire, finding the real herb in the process. The monks are alerted of his presence and spring into action. The demons trapped in the dimensional prison also begin to escape. Xu Xian says he'll distract the monks while our mouse friend takes the herb and escapes. The demons run amok and grab Xu Xian. The monks trap Xu Xian along with the demons. The mouse comes in the clutch and brings the herb to Susu, also telling him where Xu Xian is. The monks begin to ceremoniously pray around Xu Xian, casting a healing spell on him. Fahai says any distraction will kill him, so they must concentrate. He then waits outside, knowing the sisters will come for Xu Xian. The sisters arrive, and he tells them to leave. He tells her if she sees him now, the distraction will only kill him, as the monks are trying to save him. They don't believe him and do battle. The girls are giving Fahai a run for his money, but the battle proves to be a stalemate. Susu tells him that if he doesn't let her see her husband, she will flood the temple. He calls her selfish and tells her she needs to chill. She says alright, bet, and creates a massive water tsunami. Fahai puts all his force behind a barrier, but it's no match for a massive wave of water that the sisters created. They begin to battle Fahai in snake form. The temple is decimated while the battle rages on. The monks in the inner temple don't budge and still hold it down, as they're being flooded by water. Susu finds Xu Xian and begins to charge into the temple. Our mouse friend leads a charge of his own, and it seems he's brought his goons. This successfully breaks the chain of monks and lets Susu in. She saves Xu Xian, or at least thinks she does. She brings him to the surface and he asks her who she is. Fahai calls her a clown and says he told her so. She says he's just trying to come between them, and they scrap again. She uses her ultimate move and Fahai is overwhelmed by snakes. He blasts them all away, but is hurt in the process. Xing Xing eats him, but that seems to have been a mistake as he cuts through her to escape. Fahai is gravely injured though. He looks on to see none other than Neng Ren, saving all the monks from drowning. Neng Ren is looking mighty demony though. Fahai reflects upon his life before his death and wonders if he's been too stubborn. Back to Neng Ren, who saves a dying Xing Xing from the water. Susu watches her sister and cries. She creates a giant whirlpool to take revenge on Fahai. Fahai, who's not looking so good, unleashes what seems to be his ultimate move. He prays.
In the name of Jesus. Jesus. Come on!
And a 1,000-hand Guanyin Bodhisattva appears behind him, stopping the whirlpools. Susu creates a massive tsunami around Fahai, which is also of no effect. Her best efforts are no match for the power of prayer. Fahai traps Susu in the temple that's still standing. She asks Buddha where his kindness and benevolence is as all this is happening, and asks to see Xu Xian one more time. She says she'll accept her punishment, and Buddha sheds his light on her. Fahai lets her out by picking up the entire temple instead of opening the door to flex. The lovers embrace. He says he doesn't know her, but when she cries, his heart seems to be tearing in two. She says she has no regrets because of the brief moment she spent with him, and they share a passionate kiss. The kiss brings back all his memories, as the demons along with Susu are sucked into the dimensional prison. Xu Xian runs to grab her as Fahai drops a temple on her. Damn, this man's cold-blooded. Susu is seen curled up, and we fade to darkness. Xing in despair says she never wants to love anyone like her sister did, and leaves Ning Ren. Xu Xian spends his day cleaning the temple so he can at least be close to his love. Fahai, looking mighty accomplished, takes a walk with his new pet, Ning Ren. The end. If a divine entity ever tries to stop you from finding your soulmate, turn to an atheist.